All right, today we're going to dive into something called neural networks. Now, that might sound super technical, but stick with me, because this is basically the magic behind so many of the apps you're already using every single day. So let's kick things off with a question. Have you ever wondered how your phone's photo gallery can pick out Tony Stark? Even if he has a beard one day, is clean shaven the next, or is even wearing part of his Iron Man mask? A normal computer program would totally get tripped up by that stuff. There's definitely something a lot smarter going on under the hood. And that something smarter? Well, it's not actually magic. It's a piece of tech called a neural network. And, it's quietly become this super essential part of the services we just can't live without. Seriously, this isn't some far-off science fiction idea. It's literally in your pocket right now. Every time you use Google Translate on a menu in a different language, or you ask your phone's assistant a random question, yep, you're using a neural network. It's the brain that's making sense of your voice and picking out faces in all your pictures. So where did this incredible idea even come from? Well, engineers looked for inspiration in the most amazing and complex computer we know of, our own brains. Let's just break down the name itself, because it's pretty straightforward. The neural part? That's inspired by the neurons in our brains, those tiny little cells that do all the thinking. And network? Well, that just means all these artificial neurons are connected together, sharing information. Kind of like computers on the internet. It's a network built to think. Okay, so here's a simple side-by-side. Our brain has biological neurons. A neural network has artificial ones. We learn from our life experiences, right? The network learns from data, tons and tons of it. The whole goal is to copy how our brains can handle a crazy amount of information all at once. And, this is the big one, to learn. And that really is the key. I mean, we've had computers that can process information at insane speeds for a long time. That's not new. The real game changer here, the real challenge, is trying to copy the brain's ability to learn and adapt. So, this gets us to a really important distinction. We've got supercomputers that can do these mind-boggling calculations in a split second. So, what makes a neural network, a learning machine, so different? What can it do that a regular computer just can't? Check this out. If you ask a normal computer to calculate, say, 8 to the power of 8, boom, it gives you a perfect answer instantly. It's a number-crunching machine. That's what it does. But what if you ask it to recognize your buddy who just shaved off his big, bushy beard? See, that's a totally different kind of problem. It's not about calculation, it's about recognizing patterns. And that's exactly where a neural network shines. So here's the real test, right? What happens when the information you give it isn't perfect? When the data changes just a tiny bit, like a new haircut, or the lighting in the room is different, or, yep, that beard is suddenly gone. And wow, the difference is just staggering. A regular computer, which is basically just trying to match pixels, might only get it right about 45% of the time. It gets confused so easily. But the neural network, because it's actually learned the features of a face, it can still nail it with around 95% accuracy. It's not just matching pixels, it's actually understanding what a face looks like. So how on earth does it get that accurate? It all comes down to its secret weapon, the power of learning all by itself. Yeah, that 95% number is no accident. It comes from a process we call training. Imagine feeding the network thousands, maybe even millions of pictures. For every single one, it takes a guess. Hey, is this Tony Stark? And then it gets told if it was right or wrong. And it does this over and over and over, tweaking its own internal wiring each time to get a little bit better. It's literally learning to spot the important stuff, like the shape of his eyes or his smile, no matter what else is going on in the picture. And that really gets to the core of it all. The fact that it can learn by itself, that's the power of a neural network. It's not like a regular program that just follows a strict set of rules someone wrote. Nope. It actually refines its own understanding the more data it sees. That ability to learn, that's its true superpower. So when you step back and look at the big picture, it's pretty clear we're not just talking about some clever piece of software here. We are literally looking at the future of artificial intelligence. When it comes down to it, the ultimate goal is to build a copy of the human brain's basic functions right inside a machine. We're trying to create systems that don't just calculate things, but that can actually learn, adapt, and get better based on their own experiences. And that leaves us with a pretty fascinating thought to end on. We're getting really good at teaching machines to do things like recognize faces, understand what we're saying, and spot patterns. We're building them to learn just like us. So the real question becomes, What's the next lesson we should teach them?